All right, it kind of rained last night, and it's kind of rained on and off all morning. We're halfway through the afternoon already. I'm trying to get this to dry out. It's windy, but dang, everything's still wet. I also ordered another set of those LED strip lights from Amazon. I just got the shortest amount of lights they had just for that controller. And if that controller also blows, they sell just separate controllers. I think the problem was when I was hooking it up to the battery, I accidentally hooked it up backwards and it made a little pop. So I flipped it around and it worked, but it only worked for like 4 or 5 minutes. And I think maybe me hooking it up backwards is what blew it, but we're gonna try it again whenever this package gets in here, and hopefully it'll work this time. Really got to get this piece of plywood painted. We'll flip it over and let the sun shine on it and let the wind blow on it for a little bit, and then hopefully get it painted so it can start drying so we can put it in the boat tomorrow. Alright, I got another set of lights. This is a smaller set. See, the first set, I've got a leftover spool of lights. I'm gonna have a bunch of extra lights. I may end up doing something with them. Save them for another project. But I'm gonna see if this doesn't work. I think the rain's done, but just in case it's not, I don't think that controller is waterproof. It says waterproof on the box, but I think they're just talking about the lights. So we'll have that covered up just in case. Hopefully it's done raining for today. Alright, I brought this board inside. Still got a little rain in the forecast. Kind of dried this off a little bit. Got a fan blowing on it to finish drying off this part. And since it's getting cold tonight, I got a buddy heater going, warm everything up. Alright, it's been running for over an hour. It looks like everything's working good. I got it set to change color right now just to get a good look at it. Looks great. Lights up bright enough to see the whole inside of the boat. That's important. That's the main reason for it. The rest of it's just to look cool. But it's plenty bright, running 3 strands off of that 12 volt. Alright, I flipped this around. I got a brisket smoking, so it's a little smoky in here, but between the smoker and the buddy heater, which is right there, it's pretty warm in here. It should keep it warm enough, at least till the paint dries. We're gonna go ahead and paint this side. Well, I left the lights on overnight and everything looks good. We'll just go ahead and unplug them now. That big old battery probably run those things for weeks. All right, brisket's been on for a little over 13 hours and all the paint is dry on this, but it needs one more coat. So it's still fairly warm in here. It's probably about 55, 60 degrees in here. So we're gonna go ahead and put the second coat on and let it start drying. All right, I flipped it over and got the second coat on. We'll let it dry and decide if it needs a third coat, but it's starting to look good now. Well, I went ahead and put on a third coat. Looks nice and clean white now. Went and got me a geese. We gotta breast this thing out. Brisket's done, turned out really good. I've just left the smoker burner on just to keep it warm in here for this paint to dry faster. We got to do some wiring here before I put this floor back in. Just anything that's going to be wired underneath the floorboard. I'm going to have that, like the front lights and everything, navigation lights, whatnot. Got to run those wires back, and they're going to come up the same hole that the hydraulic lines come through. These are the wires for the pod lights, which we can't install until the deck is done, because I have to, it's going to be really tight, and I have to make sure that they fit under the deck and that nothing's in the way. So we're just going to run the wires up to this hole here so we have access to them, and then we're not going to do any drilling or screwing or anything until after the shooting deck's finished. Alright, let's see if this tape measure works. Oh yeah, it came right out. Perfect. Now we just gotta get some tape and tape it to those two connectors and pull it through. It's another windy day. It's either windy or rainy here lately. Alright, well, I had to fish them out one at a time, but we got them up here. I'll just tuck them in there for now. We'll get to that later, and we're going to get the rest of the wires run. Okay, so this orange wire is the front navigation lights. You see it is wired straight to this plug, which is where that red-green light will plug in, but if we got a shooting deck up top, we can't plug that in. So I'm gonna buy, I haven't bought them yet, but the little strip LEDs like I have on that boat, before I buy them, I'm gonna go ahead and put the wires in. So I'm just gonna splice into this and splice in some red and black positive, negative wires that will go to those side lights. So everything will be ready to go when I get the lights. The only thing I don't like about liquid electrical tape is once you open the bottle, you only got so long to use it before it sets up inside the bottle. So I'm putting it on here because I got a splice going to multiple wires that the heat shrink's not going to completely seal. Alright, so we got everything spliced. Whenever the lights come in, I'll just take that tape off and splice them into the lights. We got to take the rest of the wiring for the pod lights and run it back somehow. Alright, we got some wires running through. We've got the leads for this deal right here, which we'll put in later. We've still got to run wires for the front lights. I just checked, make sure they work, hooked them up to the battery. These will stay here. We'll have a 24-volt system here for the trolling motor. Okay, I think I have got everything where it needs to be. Got the floor cleaned out, ready to put that plywood down. All the wires are run. She's in. Everything's through the hole. Now we can position the console. We got to put those brackets on the console first, and then we'll position it and start screwing it down. Alright, I gotta run to the store and get some bolts for the for those brackets that go on the bottom of the console. I got the screws to screw it into the plywood, but I don't have the bolts. I ran out of bolts to bolt the aluminum, so we're gonna go to the store. Also, I'm gonna pick up another deep cycle so we can hook up the 24-volt system. But it's coming along pretty smooth so far.